Alright everybody, welcome to Donkey Kong Country 2. I'm Antilles58, and we are going to be doing a 102% run of this game. The game doesn't really need a lot of introduction, but 102% is a less common speed category. Basically, it's the completion category of the game, and what it means is we're going to grab every bonus, we're going to do every stage, grab all the DK coins. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Timer starts, I'll give a countdown, and then I guess timer will start when I say go. So 3, 2, 1, go. So if you're familiar with any percent runs of this game, this is going to look very different very quickly. Like right now, it's already different. The reason for that is because in the first two worlds of this game, every stage has a built-in warp that lets you skip the stage. I guess the developers put that in just so experienced players could get through it quickly. But what we want to do is obviously not use those to skip the stages because we have to get every bonus. Normally in 102 you won't grab Dixie in this stage. It loses about half a second to do it here, but it's definitely possible to die even in 1-1, which in a normal speedrun setting you would just reset, whatever, you lose 30 seconds, not a big deal, but in a marathon I didn't really want to die in 1-1, so I didn't. But you can kind of get the idea about what we do. We just kind of go as quickly as we can, use Ramby's charge pretty liberally throughout the game. There's the first DK coin, and that's the first stage. There's three different kinds of bonuses in this game. All of the bonuses have what's called a creme coin, and creme coins are what you need to unlock the Lost World stages, which are known for being probably the most difficult stages in the game. The first kind of bonus is sort of what you've seen a couple times now, is just a simple find the coin bonus. Basically, there's a coin somewhere in the bonus and you have to find it. The next one that I'm about to do is what's called a defeat the enemies bonus. So basically, you have to kill every enemy in the bonus stage for the coin to show up. That one's pretty quick. It's always fun to get that one. The last one, which you haven't seen yet, is coming up, and it's a collect the stars bonus. Basically, you're given a certain number of stars that you have to collect inside the bonus, and once you get them, the coin will show up. Now this particular bonus I think is one of the worst in the entire game. It's really hard to do quickly. I took that a little bit safe. If you're supposed to ideally fall all the way down. 25 is pretty good. You're supposed to fall all the way down and get the stars, but yeah, I didn't want to risk falling. It's a pretty big drop. So the next stage has a pretty cool trick if I can pull it off right away. That's what's called a team throw double jump. Basically, the way it works is whenever you throw a Kong at an enemy, they'll start coming. Awesome RNG. That's one of the first RNG instances in the game. I'm really glad that happened there. But basically, if you throw your Kong at an enemy and press B while they're coming back to you, you get sort of a boost. We'll see a lot of that. But something of note here is that I'm actually taking the warp in this stage. I know I mentioned that we don't use them, and that's true for the most part. We don't use them just to get through the stage, but in stages like this one, it's actually quicker to take the warp, go to the end of the stage, and then go back to the bonus, because that bonus is closer to the end than it is to the beginning. So by going a tiny bit of backtracking, we're able to save a lot of time, and that's used quite a bit in the first few stages. The rest of the stages in World 1, I'll do that too. So now one quirk of 102 is that the game requires you to visit each Kong family member once to get a percentage point, so we're gonna get most of those out of the way in World dang, missed it. In World 1. That warp, I tried going for a trick there called Luckjaw. We call it Luckjaw because this stage is called Lockjaw's Locker, and rolling into that barrel it's almost lucky. Like it's not, it's a skill thing, but it's easy to miss, so it really, when you're learning it especially, feels like it's just lucky. I just haven't put in as much practice in it as I should. But now, this time I took the warp, and you'll notice I actually finished the stage, and I'm re-entering to come in and get the bonus. And what this lets me do is use the start select trick to get out of the stage as soon as I finish the bonus. In this game, whenever you complete a stage and go back in, if you use start and select, you can exit back to the map. And I'm going to try to do something at the coin here. I got it. So there's a trick in this game where if you pause right when you grab the coin, you can select out and still get credit for completing the stage. Now same deal here, we're going to take the bonus, or take the warp, complete the stage, and then be able to use the start select trick. The idea behind this, of course, is it's faster than to start select. That was called a goal swap. I'll explain that a little bit, because right now this stage is actually interesting because we're taking the warp twice. Because this stage, it's faster to now fall down through the stage to get the bonuses than it would be to go up through the stage to get the bonuses, which I think is kind of a cool thing. That bonus can be kind of tough sometimes. Well, once you learn it, it's not that bad, but it took me a while to learn the jumping pattern properly. So you can see kind of right there why that was faster to get into those bonuses. See our first appearance of Ratley. Another start select trick. And we visit Funky. So that's 3 of the Kong family members out of the way. Cranky was not on the route through the level, so we'll get him later. Now Crow, if you're familiar with this game, you know that Crow is the source of more resets and more pain than anybody else in the game. This guy is the primary source of RNG because the number of, you have to wait for him to give you a real egg. Okay, there's one. The number of fake eggs he can give you each, missed it, I needed to jump a tiny bit there, but the number of fake eggs he can give you each cycle is random. So that's 2 fakes, 3 fakes. 3 fakes is okay. It's not great, but what am I, 704 World 1? That's not good, but Crow was kind of a jerk there, and it's not bad though. Ideally, if in World 1 you're getting it in under 7 minutes in a good run. So now this is where I feel like the category really starts to get pretty interesting. I really like this stage in 102, and in any percent you just skip it, because again, it's Worlds 1 and 2 have built-in warps. So you might not have noticed it earlier, but this cannonball is another. There's a couple ways to get into bonuses in this game. There's the normal go in the barrel bonus, which is kind of traditional from Donkey Kong Country 1, as is the charge into the wall style bonus. This game introduces the cannonball bonuses, where if you bring the ball to the cannon, it'll shoot you to the bonus. Here we've got Squitter. Squitter's a new animal buddy in this game, and he is at once awesome and horrible at the same time. He can be a real jerk, but he's got these web platforms. Now the way the game wants you to make web platforms is by pressing either the A, L, or R button to shoot out a little platform web, and then press one of those buttons again to harden it. But there's a tiny glitch in it where if you press L and R at the exact same time, or relatively, I think it's a pretty generous window. It doesn't feel super precise, but you'll basically create the platform instantly underneath you. So we use that, excuse me, extensively. Also, we like to Yoshi Squitter, because like I said, he can be a jerk sometimes. I like to land on that target. That was a little slow at the end. Alright, this next stage is home to one of the more infamous bonuses in the game. The famous DK coin hidden in the bonus situation. I know that even before I started speedrunning this, every time I'd play this casually, I would always forget where that was, and I would spend so much time just like searching the stage for that DK coin. But it is in the bonus. It's the only time that happens in the whole game, and it's not fair. So we got another couple team throws here. That one's a little bit tricky to learn, but same idea as before. You throw your Kong at an enemy and then press B while they're coming back towards you. I did a little trick, they're called a plink, where basically I jumped and then teamed up within a couple frames of that jump, which causes me to instantly land, stop my jump and land on the target right away. Now, much like the Topsail Trouble, the final stage of World 1, this is another get the warp and go back through from the top down situation. Okay, good. So here we go to the first Lost World stage. What we like to do is get into the Lost World stages as quickly as soon as we have enough coins to go there, we get into them. Now the Lost World stages are known, like I said earlier, for being super difficult. They're probably the main highlight. I missed a cycle there. It's okay. They're probably the main highlight, I think, of 102, in that you don't see them at all in an any % run, and just the challenge of them makes them interesting in a speedrun. This stage in particular is at once one of the most fun and most frustrating of the Lost World stages. It's really easy to make tiny mistakes and lose a lot of time, especially in the first half of the stage, and there's a pretty important trick in the second half of the stage as well. So, I mentioned earlier you need to beat the bonuses to get Creme coins to unlock these, so the bonuses in the Lost World have DK coins that you win. So unlike the bonus I showed earlier where the DK coin was hidden in this stage, here the coin is actually the prize. Tiny delay there to get this tire cycle correct. Okay, now coming up is a pretty important trick, which hopefully I will do. Called Scrolly Scroll. I died. Oh, no I didn't. I don't know how I saved that. I have no idea how I saved that, but that's called Scrolly Scroll. Basically, you by shooting out of the barrel and landing on a tire, you force the camera to unlock, and it just pushes you to the right really quickly. So it's hard to set up your tire pattern there. Man, I can't believe I saved that. Usually when I end up in that situation, I die. It's a little interesting, but that is more commonly seen in any % in Hornet Hole, which is the first stage of World 4. But in this stage we can't do Scrolly Scroll in Hornet Hole because we need to get the bonuses. Normally also you would not grab Diddy in this stage because he causes quite a bit of lag. But since it's a marathon, I decided to grab him just because it's not fun to redo this stage. So now we approach one of the worst bonuses in the game. This bonus is an absolute disaster because of this fish. I hate this fish so much. His hitbox is terrible. Sometimes you think you're charging and you don't get the charge, and he hits an enemy and you're done, and then you start over here and you have to go redo the bonus. That bonus, it's harder to aim precisely than in other places for some reason, so I always take it probably a little bit safer than I need to. I hate the fish. I hate the fish. He's great in DKC3, but not in this game. Even in DKC1, where his hitbox is really bad, he can at least clip through stuff, but this game, he's just a jerk. Alright, so now this stage is the first super difficult stage in 102. In any percent, you just take the warp. Easy peasy, right? This stage introduces the Ramby double jump. So there's a trick in here called, or a move, we call it the Ramby jump. The double jump is probably the easiest part of it, but we start off by just doing the warp as normal. And now if I'm gonna die, this is probably a high candidate. But I'll do it until I get it. Because it's cool. I think I got it. Yeah, I think so. Yep. So the game wants you to take these balloons. But as you can see, they're really slow. So I would say that's the most precise trick in 102. And the thing that's tough about it is that when you time the jump off of the barrel, like if you jump too soon, Ramby's gonna bounce into a B and you'll lose him. If you jump too far, you won't be able to land on the final B. And then that's followed up by what's called the Ramby double jump, which is a trick that it's a weird glitch that if you're charging while you're charge jumping, and if you press jump again and then press away and forward really quickly, he'll do a little double jump, like a little second hop, and that's an interesting thing. So now we got another trick here. I'm gonna grab the mid barrel just for safety. In a real run, I wouldn't do this, but it's very easy to die here. So I would hate to have to redo Ramby jump if I failed this. Which I did. So first death. My timing was a tiny bit off. So that's why I got the mid barrel, because I didn't. If I had not grabbed the mid barrel, I would have had to do Ramby jump again to get back here, and that would have been awful. Again. It's okay. Just nerves. There we go. Much like the throw you saw earlier in the game, we use that to grab the DK coin early. It's not a big deal. That's probably about a 20 to 30 second loss from that. So now this stage you have to be very careful not to be mashing when you finish it, because you automatically move up to the boss, and you do not want to go into the boss by accident here. Okay, another team throw double jump. So the team throw double jumps are a lot more prevalent in 102. They show up, but there's only like 2 or 3 of them in any percent. But they're really, you've probably already noticed that, how key they are to good movement in 102. We'll see a lot more of them too as the game goes on. Also, I've noticed I'm playing on the Japanese version, and as with most speedruns, yes, that is indeed faster. I'll explain why shortly, or not shortly, actually, more towards the end of the run. But basically, there's a damage boost that can only be done in the Japanese version on this software version of the game. So Squawks shows up for the first time, and he's made quite the change from Donkey Kong Country 1, where he was basically a glamorized flashlight in that game, but in this game he is awesome. He's a lot of fun. He's hard to do quickly, and he can spit these coconuts or eggs or whatever it is you want to call them. Okay, now Cleaver. What? Cleaver's an interesting boss. He can be difficult to learn how to do quickly. So that right there is something called Lava Fly. It's actually pretty precise. You have to bait him. You have to. Well, it's just hard to explain. It's just precise. Hard to learn, but definitely worth it. Saves 4 seconds if you pull it off, but if you do it wrong, you're gonna die and lose a minute. So, much like everything else in the game. All right, let's see. About 20 minutes for World 2. I don't know. Yeah, I'd say I lost about 30 seconds on Red Hot Ride. Normally, a good World 2 for me is about 19:30, and a really good World 2 would be closer to 19 minutes. So this is where the route meets up with any percent. Because, like I mentioned, you do just warps through the first 2 worlds in any percent. And then you gotta actually start playing the game here. So now here's some more Ramby charge jumps. These ones look kind of cool, but they're not hard. They just look cool. The Ramby jump in Red Hot Ride is much, much more difficult. You gotta jump and look at that guy or you don't get this. Just kidding. I just like to do that because I'm stupid. And do things that usually cause me to run into an enemy and die because don't like waiting, but I guess none of us do. So yeah, the rest of the game is pretty much just any percent plus grabbing the bonuses. And Lost World stages. So now I'm going to do a team throw into this barrel, which, as you might rightly suspect, does seem slower than just jumping into the barrel. But what it does is it sets me up for a super jump. So when I get hit here, Dixie did a super jump, which lets her hover and skip that whole section, which is about a 10-second time save. Because normally what the game wants you to do is take the barrel along the bottom and that's slow. So Glimmer's Galleon is the first major water stage in the game. We've had a little bit of swimming already, but this stage is pretty rough to optimize. What you want to look for is every time I go around a corner, I want to take the corner as close as possible to the edge without actually touching the edge. So every time you see me bonk a little bit on a side, I'm losing about like half a second or so. So this has been maybe an average Glimmers at best. I'm not great at this stage. There's a lot of other players, especially those who do any percent mostly, because they get here a lot more frequently. Like most of my resets will happen before the end of World 2, which is like 20 minutes instead of 6 minutes in any percent. So players who do any percent pretty frequently tend to be a lot better at this stage. So it was okay. .28's all right, about average for that bonus. The bonuses are I feel pretty tough to optimize in this. I think you can get a 29 in that one. I think that the bonuses in particular make speedrunning this really interesting. Awkward end of the stage. But the bonuses in particular make it really interesting because the timer pretty much helps you to always know exactly how well you did the bonus. Like you know what time you should have if you did it well. Which is kind of really nice on-the-fly feedback. If you got a timer, I guess you know how well you're doing. But It's more of a way to just feel like how bad you did, and to get mad at yourself for not getting the time you wanted. So 29 would be fast for this bonus, but this one, as I mentioned, with the corners earlier, you want to take them perfectly, and in this one it's really hard to take them perfectly because you can't actually see the corners. So I was almost 29, but I got hung up a little bit at the end. Now it's really important I do not press right here, or I would re-enter the bonus, and then I would have to basically complete it again. There's no easy way to fail it. Alright, so now this Crockhead Clamor, or Crackhead as we affectionately call it, is the first stage I think that's pretty hard in any percent. It's all about rolling off of crocodile heads. And timing those rolls properly. It's like those guys down there, the second half especially, which is a difficult mechanic to learn. Once you've got it figured out, it's not too bad, but it can be a tad irritating. That's a fun bonus to do. Once you've learned it, it always feels pretty fast. I missed the jump. I pushed jump, but it was slightly off, so I had to wait. Especially the end is tight and tough to learn, but we did it. Alright, here we are, Rattle Battle. This is an interesting stage. Rattly is quite slow when he walks along the ground, so you want to always be jumping. So you pretty much have to memorize like where the enemies are, when to be jumping, when to be landing, who to bounce off of, who to go around, when to hesitate. It's very easy to just bleed a lot of time in this stage. Like you can see it right there towards the bottom. I don't have any room to jump, so I have to walk, and you can see how slowly he moves. This stage will also introduce the idea of a Rattly double jump, which I'll explain a lot more towards the end of the game when we get to Toxic Tower. Alright, haven't missed any, that's good. I don't normally miss any, but it's always nice to have a little bit of a sanity check. So that's the first short hop double jump that we'll see. It becomes very important in Toxic Tower. It prevents you from having to do a charge up like that. There is a route through this bonus that uses short hops, I just haven't taken the time to learn it yet. But I'm looking to get a 28, that's okay. 29 is the fastest I can do that, and I almost did it there. But 31 is definitely possible if you know the good route. Lost a little bit of time there, that's alright. Okay, have to do the slow ending. If you go through the start fast enough, you can hit that first barrel that he shoots. But anyways, that's the stage. Almost. Just like Glimmer's Galleon a moment ago, we're actually going to come back into the stage to get the bonus at the beginning. Because it's faster to exit the stage, go to the map, and re-enter than it would be to finish this bonus and then like rejoin the normal route. So we're going to see a few of that. So now we get to the second Lost World stage, which is, I think, one of the harder ones to do normally. But I think this is probably my favorite stage in the game. I already screwed up my favorite stage. That's alright. That's really not a huge deal. Kong management is critical in this game. I think it's probably one of the most important things to know is that when you're always used to doing certain stages with a certain Kong in front. So if you end up getting hit like I did there, what happens is you'll end up with someone you're not used to, and they both move pretty differently. So when you have to use someone you're not used to, you're much more likely to die, either because you don't know what you're doing, or they can't do tricks that you're used to, or they're just going to move more slowly. Like certain Kongs are used because they're faster in different places. So having Dixie there definitely cost me a tiny bit of time. Now this is one of the first bonuses in the game that can absolutely ruin you, because there's no way for me to get back into it if I fail. So if I had failed that bonus, I would have had to die on purpose and go back to the midpoint. So now it's just really important that I don't take a hit to end this stage, because the next stage requires me to have 2 Kongs. So what I did there is I switched with 1 Kong in the water and 1 Kong out of the water, which gives me a super jump when I take a hit from an enemy. If you've seen any percent, you've seen that done to set up a wrong warp. But in 102 we use it to get to that bonus quickly. Wrong warps, I'll probably mention a few other times, but basically what they are is a way of using an invisible object to mess with the game's IDs and trick it into sending you to thinking you've completed the stage. Any percent relies on them pretty heavily, but we can't do any of them in 102 because when you to beat a stage, and like you have to hit the target to get a percentage point. Another switch to set up another super jump. Ah, 17. Should be 18 for that bonus if you've done it correctly. So again, like what I was just mentioning about Kong management, what you saw there was something I've done a few times now. It's called a goal swap. Basically, if you're able to switch Kongs, press select to switch Kongs at the goal, it will trigger the goal and put the other Kong in front, saving you the time for a jump and the time for a Kong switch. So I wanted Dixie in the front for this stage, so that's why I did it. Damage boost here. Basically saves having to do that whole barrel maze to get to the bonus. So this stage is all about doing what's called these quick shots out of those barrels. Basically, when a barrel is pointing a direction already that you want it to go, timing when you press B to shoot is pretty important. It saves time. Like I could have done one there and it would have saved like a rotation of the barrel. So we've got coming up here something called Vine Clip, which is a pretty cool trick. I'm about 50-50 on it, so I hope I get it, but we will see. And I was not even close. Not even close. That actually is really tragic that that happened that way, because now I have to do what's called the Maze of Shame. Because if you have 2 Kongs, you can skip this maze. But since I really messed up Vine Clip, I am now deeply, deeply shamed. So what Vine Clip would have done is where I threw Dixie, I was trying to set up another team throw, but my timing was off. I don't usually lose Dixie there, but worst case scenario for Vine Clip is you miss it and you lose Dixie. Best case scenario is you're able to do one of those team double jumps. We call them big boys too, so if you hear me say big boy, that's why. Best case scenario is you're able to do a big boy and clip through the vine above and save that time. Worst case, you can go do a damage boost with Dixie and skip the barrel maze I did. But so since I fell in there, maze of shame. Alright, now we're on to Cudgel. Cudgel's interesting. He's super boring. And there's a quick kill for him. That saves 2 seconds. Which normally sounds like a good thing, right? You want to save 2 seconds, it's faster. And that would help in a speedrun. But I'm not going to do that quick kill. Because I don't like it. The way the quick kill works is that you have to position yourself such that you pick up the barrel the moment it falls, and then you time when to. I'll try to do one of them just to show it off. You do that basically. You time when he's gonna land based on counting Dixie's breaths, like the times her head bobs with the barrel. And then what you're gonna do is each hit is gonna save a couple tenths of a second. So over the 6 hits, it adds up to 2 seconds. However, if you fail one of those, you lose 10 seconds. So this boss, it's a trade-off of gaining a couple tenths of a second or losing 10 seconds. And the biggest reason I don't want to do that is because I really think this is a super boring fight and I don't want to practice it. It's not worth doing unless you can do it 100% in my mind. And I'm probably at about 90%. I just do not want to practice it. It's just, look at this. Do you really want to spend the time practicing this? Like, it's not fun. I can save 2 seconds somewhere else. Alright, so now I'd say I'm probably about a minute behind where I'd like to be when you consider Maze of Shame coupled with the deaths earlier, but it's not a big deal. So now we get into World 4. World 4 is when I think the game starts to get really fun. So this is Hornet Hole. Hornet Hole introduces honey jumping, which is probably one of the most difficult mechanics to master in the game. Void is the world record holder, in both any percent and 102. And he'll be the first to tell you that honey jumping is a very underrated skill. Like, you can lose a surprising amount of time by trying to jump on honey. Now, I just passed the bee on the hook down there, and that bee is where you set up the scrolly scroll in this stage. Remember how in Jungle Jinx I forced the camera to unlock and give me a lot of speed? In any percent you would do that here. Come on. But in 102, you need the spider for the rest of the stage, and doing the scrolly scroll sacrifices the spider. So we are not going to do that. That was a little sloppy. Bye, Squitter. I think this stage is probably the best example of a stage where you want to get the bonuses after beating the stage so you can start select out. Because you can see here really clearly how the amount of time it took me to get up here was way more than re-entering the stage would have been. So imagine backtracking there to go back to the start and continue the stage normally. That's very obviously more time than just going to the map would be. Especially when you consider there's a second bonus up here, which probably took a lot of time to find as a kid. I know it did for me. I take this bonus a little bit cautiously. It's really easy to miss the timing and jump into a bee. And now we get to the first cart stage. DK games are obviously infamous for their cart stages. And I think this is the most important cart stage for a reason that will become clear towards the end of the level. Should have ate more lunch today. I'm hungry. This is the kind of thing you talk about in auto-scrollers. Excuse me again, got a little bit of a cold. This stage actually brings up the good point about why it's not wise to play any percent and 102 at the same time. Because when you get really used to doing a stage in a certain way, especially the auto-scrollers, it's really easy to do something you're not supposed to do regarding bonuses. Like the bonus I just went in here, you notice it was kind of above the track. And if you're playing 102 a lot, and then you suddenly switch to an any percent run, it's really easy to just jump into that bonus like automatically, like with muscle memory. And conversely, if you're used to doing any percent, you try doing 102, it's super easy to forget that bonus. Going into that bonus in any percent is going to cost you about 20 to 30 seconds. In 102, it's going to cost you a minute to a minute and a half. So you do not want to miss that bonus, and you do not want to lose that bonus. All right, 20, halfway through the DK coin count. That's usually the first DK coin you grab in any percent, just because why not? It's there, it's free. And as we'll learn shortly, this stage is all about swag. All about swag. Swag balloon. That was for you, chat. I love you, so I got that for you. The run doesn't count also if you don't get swag balloon, so it's pretty important to do. If you try that with one Kong, it's ultimate swag balloon. Anyway, Bramble Scramble. One of the hardest stages in the game when you're first playing through it. Come on, get the B. I know I missed I didn't miss 2 stars down there. I actually didn't mean to grab the first 2. This bonus is pretty rough too because you cannot get back into it if you fail it, so it's hard to optimize. 25 is good, 24 is still okay, 22 is meh. But sadly, in any percent, you don't see this stage anymore because now there's a wrong warp in it. Why am I going slow? And it's the hardest wrong warp in the game. So 102 is the only category you get to see this in anymore. Well, and beat Mario. Shoutouts to Mr. Zare the Man. Okay, I missed that, but that's alright. Just a little bit slow. It's more important that I get up here with 2 Kongs to show this off. So you know how normally those signs mean no animal buddies? We don't like those signs. Because Squawks is way better than Shoes. So one of the very few differences between the Japanese version and the American version is right here. This next section has significantly fewer Bs than the American version, which saves, in a speedrun, doesn't really save that much. Maybe a second or 2. So that is not the main reason that I am playing Japanese, but it does help. It certainly helps, especially in 102, because you don't do that part in any percent anymore. So now Rickety Race. Another stage that probably took a long time as a kid. I think this stage was one of the most difficult to learn in the whole run. But now it's just another auto-scroller. But it has an important lesson. And that lesson is just because it's an auto-scroller and it's easy and boring does not mean you can look away from the screen and look at chat. This is something that I have learned the hard way a lot. Every time I find myself in an auto-scroller, I get complacent, I get lazy, I think I've got it for free, and then I look at chat and forget that just because I know what I'm doing, I still need to know that it's time to push the button. So, it's like, it's just not good. This guy coming up here is the worst part of the stage. Alright, we're good. So, my advice to all of you, don't look at chat during auto-scrollers. The best time to look at chat is during the really, really hard trick that takes a couple of frames to pixel perfect stuff to execute. Anyways, Rickety Race. So now we're finally going to go talk to Cranky. This is the first time that he actually is on the route through the stage normally. So we've now talked to all 4 Kong family members and gotten the percentage points from them. Now Mudhole. If there's another stage where I'm likely to die in, it's this. I'd say this is the 3rd most difficult stage in the game. It's pretty unforgiving. But I made through the hardest part alive. Especially in 102, that's important, because if you get hit there, you lose a Kong, and then you have to rely on RNG Cat down there to throw you into the bonus. And he almost never does. Well, that's nice to get through that. It's not easy the rest of the way, not for sure, but it's easier than that first part. Okay, I missed my timing there to do the wiggle. Okay, I thought I almost landed on the B. I got a little nervous. It's alright. So now this stage also is the first one to introduce the infamous DK coin on the bonus, or on the goal target situations. And we go for YOLO strats here. If I had missed that jump somehow, I killed the cannon, so there would be no other way for me to get the DK coin, and I would have had to die and go back to the midpoint. Or worse, I mistime my jump, still land on the goal target, get the wrong item, then I have to redo the entire stage. What are you grabbing that guy for? Don't. That was sloppy. It's okay. So this is Clobber Carnage, the next Lost World stage, and I think this is the hardest Lost World stage. It's the most frustrating Lost World stage. There's not a lot that you can do to speed it up. The beginning part you can move through it pretty quickly, but the second half is basically a barrel cannon auto-scrolling section with some pretty tight stuff at the end. So here we go. So a death at this point in this stage costs quite a bit of time, and it's easy to die. So it's not like a normal auto-scroller like the cart levels. There's a lot that can go wrong, but you can speed it up a little bit with appropriate damage boosts. Now the hardest thing about it is to make sure you're paying attention and know which section you're in. Like right now I'm in the second auto-scrolling section, but it's really easy to get confused and think you're in the first auto-scrolling section, and then if you try to do the first section's damage boost setup, you'll very quickly despawn that barrel that's kind of guiding us through the stage, and if you do that, it's over. Super easy to lose. lose time. Damage boost here. So now the end of this stage has the hardest part, I think, and in PB attempts I would do what's called fast gatekeepers here, where basically you time it and then you jump off of both of these barrel guys. But if you mistime your jump just a little bit, you're going to end up being knocked back into the spikes, so which loses the entire auto-scrolling section. I think that's where you lose about a minute and a half. It's really not good. Oh, that was almost an 8. That was one of the best I've done of that bonus. All right, Hornet Hole or Ramby Rumble. We're coming up on probably the most noteworthy big boy in any percent. Again, big boy is the team throw double jumps. That skips, excuse me, that skips quite a lot of the stage. I didn't get the thing, that's weird. That guy always makes me nervous. He'll never not make me nervous. It's not really necessary to grab that. It loses probably about half a second, but the end of this stage is usually pretty safe, but anything can happen, so I grabbed it. It's not that far out of the way. So the way the game wants you to get this DK coin is to go up and around with Diddy and Dixie, but I just do a Ramby double jump there like I described earlier, where while charge jumping you press jump again and then away forward and you got it. So that saves quite a bit of time. Uh-oh. Okay, I pressed the button there that I shouldn't have, so I lost my charge, which loses, I don't know, 5 seconds maybe. I lost track of where I was. It can happen. The music got intense because there actually was a giant bee chasing us, but we don't really get to see him until the next stage. He is the boss of the world. King Zing Sting. So one noteworthy thing is that I'm actually playing on the 1.0 version of this game, and I'll explain more about why later, but of the few differences in 1.0 versus 1.1, which is where normal any percent attempts are done, this guy moves a lot slower in 1.0, which makes him slower and easier, but different. So again, if you're playing any percent, which requires 1.1 to do wrong warps, and then you switch to 102 and you're playing 1.0 to do the zip at the end of the game, this guy can throw off your pattern. So again, it's best to pick a category and stick to it for a while. They're both fun. I like both categories of this game very much, but just it's recommended to only work on one at a time. Alright, 53. I actually don't know what's good anymore. I've completely lost track of where I am. I think that was a pretty good World 4. A few tiny hiccups here and there. But now we're on to World 5, which I think is where good runs go to die. Most runs that are going to fail in this are going to fail in World 1 or World 2. The Ramby double jump in Hothead Hop is probably the last major reset point. So if you get past that, ahead or close to a PB or something like that, you're having a pretty good run. But runs that manage to get past that point usually end up dying in World 5. Because just every stage has things that can really mess with you. Even this stage, which is by far and away the easiest stage in World 5, has a lot of stuff that can really screw with you. Some tight rolls, some jumps and things that are difficult. But we'll see. We'll see what I can do. Uh-oh, I missed that. Dang, okay, it's fine. I was trying to set up another team throw double jump to get up to the bonus there, but I jumped a little bit too high. It's okay. That right there is one of the biggest sources of time loss in 102. I lost in my current PB, which is 134.46, 45, something like that. I messed that up and like took forever to try to jump up on the ropes and lost 15 seconds in this stage. So I'm actually gaining time against my PB here, believe it or not, even with missing that throw. But when you hit that throw, it's really cool looking, so I'm kind of sad that I didn't. It's one of the newer things I'm bringing into the route, though, so it doesn't surprise me a whole lot. Smart Alec. So this guy here, this stage. Now this is, I think, probably the easiest auto-scroller in the game. There's nothing too tricky about it, but 102 makes it horrible because of the bonuses. Not this bonus, or the second bonus, but the third bonus, which we'll discuss shortly. But one thing I want to mention in this stage is that jumping up or down slopes saves frames, and jumping while on a horizontal loses frames. So you can actually vary a second or two. I actually lost a little bit of time there and got a 3 because I did one less jump on the slope than I should have. Now we call this the Mario 64 bonus because you need to get 120 stars. And this is also noteworthy in that I believe it's the first bonus in the game where there are more stars than you actually need, which is nice of them because it would be tricky to grab all of these. So the next bonus is, I think, far and away the worst bonus in the game because of where it is, how hard it is to get into, and then how hard it is to actually do. If you fail to get into the bonus, you're going to lose about 40 seconds because you have to die and then go back and try again. If you fail to complete the bonus, you're gonna lose over a minute because again you have to die and go back to the midpoint and try again. So hopefully I get it, but even at this level, like it's almost luck, really. I mean, there are cues. It's not luck. I know how to do it, but we'll see. Okay, good. But that jump right there, you have to do a short jump. If you end up jumping up top, you're dead. You missed it. I like to call it the 1, 2, 3, 4 bonus because there's 1 jump, 2 jumps, 1, 2, 3 jumps, 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. And the reason it's one of the worst in the game is because that bonus is really fast. There's no room for error. Basically, you have to know when to jump. If you screw it up, it hurts. Because the first place you could die is that pit right there, so you lose a lot of time afterwards too. The rest of the stage is pretty easy. Shouldn't have jumped there. Alright, Gusty Glade. I hate Gusty Glade. This kind of goes into a 3-level stretch of really difficult stages. Gusty being the easiest of the bunch, but still very unforgiving. I've reached a point here where I cannot let myself get hit and lose a Kong. Especially here. Good. Because I need to be able to do this team throw into this bonus. It's very easy to get hit along the beginning. I'm actually feeling kind of nervous about that. I haven't really been too nervous here. But that part makes me nervous. Every time. This next bonus is called 27er Riot. because chat is supposed to riot if you don't get a 27. Which I probably won't. I'm not good at it, getting a 27. I don't think I will because I got that star at the beginning that I missed. But it's pretty hard to do this accurately. I think Void can get a 28 pretty consistently. That's about it. That was actually not bad, but I got a 26! I expect rioting. Pickets and torches and all that. I'd be disappointed if Alec isn't leading the way. Oh my gosh, I thought I was dead. How did that not die? If you don't do your team throws precisely, you'll still get the team swap team swaps precisely on the target. You'll still get animation. Now this, I think, is probably, for people who don't run the game, this is usually the most impressive stage. And it's a lot of fun to do. It's really hard to learn. But the game wants you to take those purple parrots, but they're really slow. So we don't do that. We just fall. It's not, I'd say once you know it, it's not as hard as it looks. But it's definitely very difficult to learn, and even once you know what you're doing, it can still throw you off. Hardest section is the one right here, what I'm about to do. But I got through, so that's good. Oh, midpoint parrot. That's another shameful thing. Once again, I am deeply, deeply shamed. Like, deeply. That might be worse than the Maze of Shame, actually. If Christmas is in chat, she's shaking her head, preparing to blast me with something from Splatoon. So anyway, there's two major ways to do this, and the faster one is to actually not take any damage here. It's super, super impressive. I use 2 damage boosts, and that's kind of the standard way, but for people who are really at the elite level, they'll go through that without any hits at all. Okay, I thought I was dead there too. I moved to the right too soon. Oh man, there's been too many close calls. I don't know where I'm pulling this out of, but anyways, Webwoods. This is the speedrun graveyard. Because sometimes platforms just don't want to platform, so I'll do my best. But this is again another very likely death point. Of course, I will try not to make that the case, but so not only do we have the instant platforms here, but we have these things called damage boosts, where if you get hit by an enemy, you can jump shortly afterwards, with Squitter and Ratley specifically. Now here we've got one of the more impressive tricks in 102. Okay, uh-oh, I'm alright. I might actually be dead because I missed that. Oh, how did I make that? I have no idea. The fact that I'm hit is gonna lose me time, but guys, that was not, I made that up on the fly. I'm like nervous now. I'm doing this bonus wrong. I lost a second or two on the bonus. So it's sad that I got hit there because now I have to take this end section a little bit more slowly. I can't do a damage boost that you normally would. But it's probably for the best just to do this safely anyway. What's going on here? Okay, I'm like... So doing this without the damage boost is weird. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier, how when you end up getting hit in a time you're not used to, you don't really know how to go through it. So I sort of just make that up. Stupid game. I don't know how I pulled off the fast cannonball. What happened was I failed to kill one of the neckies while going across the pit, and that's usually certain death when going for fast cannonball. So what you're normally supposed to do is wait for the cannon to shoot a slow cannonball that goes across the pit and takes like 20 seconds, but that takes forever. And that DK coin is like everybody's nightmare. It just like the one earlier in Mudhole, it shows up on the target, but you only get one shot at it, and it shows up. I think you have an 8-frame window because it flashes by really, really quickly. So now this boss is the last real source of RNG in the game. Just like earlier Crow, this bird is a super jerk. Birds are jerks holds true for this as well, which is why Puexel probably speedruns this game also. If there's a boss that I die on a lot, it's this one. And he gives me left spawn. Thanks, bird. So you want the spawns to be middle or right. Left is bad. That was a decent climb, actually. Not great, but decent. Right spawn is good. Thank you, bird. Makes up for it a little bit. Alright, 105, not too bad. Now we get the stage where the fish stars. This is the stage, like that bonus earlier I was talking about the fish having bad hitboxes. In this stage, the fish's hitboxes are even more frustrating. But we'll do our best. We will endeavor to good fishing. In guard, it's all about charge canceling. You can turn off your charge and maintain speed while being able to move direction. Like normally while he's charging you can't change direction, but if you charge cancel properly you can maintain your speed while moving around. And I'm not great at it. I'm okay. I'm okay at stopping where I need to, but not really at maintaining the speed. Like it's when you don't have an extra hit here, it's very nerve-wracking because he can sometimes just get hit randomly when you're not expecting it. It's almost like the game knows because it gives you a lot of DK barrels in a short short interval there. This next bonus is another risky bonus. Because if you mess it up, you have to go back to the midpoint. There's no way to come back to it from where it drops you off. I don't usually mess it up though. It's been a while. Alright, so if you hit the target while underwater, you're gonna get the Dixie's little guitar solo. But what I did there was what's called the duck underwater glitch, where basically I went to the side, ducked, and it threw me down to the bottom. So the game thought I was actually on the ground instead of underwater, so I was able to avoid the fanfare. But now we get to animal antics. Show of hands, who hated animal antics as a kid? It is actually not that bad a stage in the speedrun. Much like Tekio likes to say, it's actually not pretty easy stage. But it's very difficult to learn. Now, don't get me wrong, I'd say it's still one of the top 5 hardest stages in the game. But it's not as bad as some other stages in a speedrun. And contrary to popular belief, the squawk section with the wind is actually not the hardest part of the stage. The hardest part of the stage is the squitter section right here, to do this without getting hit when you don't want to. There's a few ways to do this. I do one that's a tiny bit slower, but a little more consistent. I make use of the damage boosts there. Shoutouts to Mr. Zare the Mantigan who figured that one out. But there's a way to do it where you don't take the damage boost there, you take it earlier in the stage, or in the squitter section, and then you if you can optimally climb up through those bees while shooting webs and making platforms, it's faster, but that's certainly not easy to do. And now I think the most critical part of the stage is what's coming up right now. The Squitter Bramble section. If I get hit here... Okay, good. If I got hit there, it throws off the entire squawk section and the pattern for the wind. Because you have to take it a lot safer with one hit. But with 2 hits, you can do a damage boost here and don't have to worry about getting through those guys. And now I know my wind cycle. So I can take the right damage boosts and get through it. And now the Rattly section is also quite difficult. Chicken out. Okay, good. It's just very easy to miss by a tiny bit there and end up dead. And then dying there means you have to redo the Squitter section and the Squawk section and the Rattly section again, so it's not good. So this next stage is called Windy Hell, or, well, sorry, mostly Windy Hell, because it can really troll you. It's kind of like an auto-scroller, but it's also got a lot of little speed-up tricks, and it's got a lot of things that can hurt you. First skip is there. Nice. First big thing to worry about with this stage is the bonus coming up, which this bonus will forever break my heart because you can either do 2 hits or 1 hits on the dragonflies you're going to see. Like, you can kill 2 of them at once, or you can kill 1 of them at a time. It's obviously faster to kill 2 of them at once, but I once saw Void lose a world record pace run to this, to going for doubles. And ever since, and even today in my practice, I tried for a double, and I messed it up. Shoutouts to my practice run from earlier, which was probably the worst I've played in months. So, that was fun. But, anyway, so I go for singles on that, and there's no way back into that bonus. You have to restart the stage. So we're coming up here on the damage boost that is Japanese only in the 1.0 version of the game. You cannot do that in the US 1.0 version. In 1.1 you can do it in both, so any percent you're going to see that every time, but in 102, if you're playing on the 1.0 version, Japanese will save 4 seconds because of that damage boost right there. So maybe 5 seconds total if you include Bramble Scramble, but not really. So now it's really important that I don't get hit, both for the end of this stage and the next stage start. I would have lost 15 seconds. Well, I still can if I get hit still. I lose 15 seconds. Okay, I took that a little bit too safe. 5 of those seconds would come because I couldn't do this team throw trick. Oh no! Are you kidding me? That has never happened before. Oh, I actually said it in a marathon. Well, there goes the 15 seconds. That stinks. Stupid guy. The last possible enemy in the stage. Ugh. Are you kidding me, game? Come on. That's alright. We'll be fine. No! What is that? Windy Hell, ladies and gentlemen. Is that RNG Beetle? I think they call one of those 2 beetles RNG Beetle, and I think I just got RNG Beetled. Oh my goodness. That stage, guys. That stage. All I needed was to grab the DK barrel. That's hilarious. Anyways, so we're in Castle Crush. I needed 2 Kongs for this part because it's really important to get all these bananas. Not actually, but so this stage is much like Parachute Panic, the stage where I fell through all the bees earlier. This stage is another one that's famous in Donkey 2 speedrunning because of the glitch we're about to do. So this stage is normally the worst auto-scroller in the game. It's just so slow. Like, at least the cart auto-scrollers are a little bit fast. Excuse me. At least the cart auto-scrollers are a little bit fast, but this is just like waiting. But there's a trick in this game called the Castle Crush skip, which you'll just see shortly. I'm gonna take this barrel all the way up. So if I get, and I need 2 Kongs. So if I get hit, trick's ruined, I have to die, go back, get another Kong, start over, lose 1.5 minutes. If I lose the barrel, trick's over, have to go, start over, get 1.5 minutes, lose 1.5 minutes. But when I make it up here, with the barrel, I can get an invisible object, and it's not a wrong warp, it's what's called a summon. I'm gonna cause, well, I guess you'll just see. Uh-oh. Okay, I did the slow version, that's alright. I'll cause the target to like somehow teleport itself right down on top of me. Nobody really knows why that is. If you try to do that invisible barrel trick, anywhere else in the stage, it'll probably kill you. And it's even been known to like corrupt the ROM on your disk, like delete save files or ruin the cart entirely. So it's interesting, just I don't know why that works, but the nice thing about it is I mentioned earlier that wrong warps in this game, they don't give you percentage points. But since I hit the target in this, not only does it give me the percentage point, but it lets me be able to start select out of the stage. So now what I'm doing is I'm coming back and getting all the bonuses. So even though I'm redoing the entire first part of the stage, it's still faster than doing the whole stage would be normally. In any percent, it saves you about 3 minutes. In 102, doing that Castle Crush skip saves you about 20 seconds. So it's pretty significant, even in this. Now, once again, I need to keep the barrel, because the game wants you to use Rambi to open a bonus, but getting Rambi is costly, because it takes time to transform into him. So I need to bring this barrel all the way up to where the first bonus is to open it up. And doing this section with Dixie is a little trickier than doing it with Diddy, especially this right here. This is the most dangerous part of the stage, and we're good. And now we get Rambi for free, so no worries. I didn't get it. It's possible to make it up through those guys without landing back on the crush, but whatever. I Yoshi off of Rambi there, just because it gets me to the coin faster, but it's also, you want to make sure you don't take him through the sign, because taking him through the sign causes a second of delay. And now the rest of the stage is pretty easy, but it's kind of cool. Another cool thing about 102 is actually getting to see this part of the stage. Because you obviously don't in any percent. I always feel like you fly really slowly here. I mean, I'm mashing as fast as I can, but I'm still flying so slowly. Just a bad stage all around. I actually don't even know what's in after this. I'm gonna start select out of this bonus. I don't even know like what the rest of the stage is. It'd be interesting to try to do it just for fun. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't start select and I'll just waste the time. I already got Maze of Shame, so it's not like it's a good run anyway. Anyway, here we go. Maze of Shame and Parrot of Shame. It's like the run of shame across the board. Here we go. Alright. What? Don't land on him. That wasted a second. Alright, there's a cancel. Once again, this fish can be a jerk sometimes. This is a pretty quick little stage, nothing too fancy going on until the end. I jumped off the fish there and maintained his momentum to get under the water faster. Alright. Alright, so this is called Throw Your Girlfriend. I do not recommend actually throwing any real girlfriend you might have. That is discouraged. Oh, what? I thought I had that. Depending on how precisely you go through that stage, you are able to get through the end with the invincibility. So that was kind of a bummer. This is another stage that you just wrong warp through at any percent, but it's actually a really cool stage to do, so I'm glad I get the chance to show it off. Hopefully I show it off correctly. This bonus is like the world record bonus, because in Void's world record 1, which is 1:29:56, which is absolutely an insane time. I don't know how he does it, but he actually messed up this bonus, which costs about 20 seconds to do. And the thing about that that's so interesting is Riz is the former world record holder, and one of his old world records, he messed up the bonus too. So twice has that bonus been failed in a world record run, which is just, you wouldn't expect that. I mean, losing 20 seconds and still getting world record, like that goes to just show just how good those guys are at this game. Riz is a Japanese runner, Void is a Canadian runner, and Void will actually be running this category at AGDQ in a few weeks. So if you like what you're seeing in general, definitely be sure to tune in then, because you're going to see, if you like this, your mind is going to be blown by what he does. Decent climb. Alright, there's a pretty cool trick that's 1.0 exclusive coming up here. So this is a tiny part of the reason that running 1.0 is good for 102. Shoutouts to Clips. Saves quite a bit of time. Like, you would have had to climb up about this number of chains on the other side. I always get scared there because for some reason my game just doesn't like to jump. Anyways, now we're moving on to Toxic Tower, which I would say is probably number 2 most difficult stage after Webwoods. Certainly, I'd say this is the most... Webwoods is probably more likely to kill you. This stage is more likely to just take forever. Like, it's really easy to make mistakes. Doing this stage optimally is really hard. So here's the Rattly double jumps I was talking about earlier. Basically what I'm doing is holding A as I'm landing, and then I'm tapping B for 2 frames or less, which gives you that little funky jump, that like right there. What you're able to do is jump out of that again, so it's a double jump. Okay, I messed that up, but whatever. Overall, I'm very pleased with how that Rattly section went. That was one of my best Rattly sections in a run, actually. I think I missed like 1 or 2 jumps. That's what's called a short hop double jump. There are other ways to do double jumps that are more precise but faster, and I just haven't taken the time to learn them yet. But those would be the last major tricks I need to learn in this game, would be the Rattly true double jumps for this stage. And I could probably save about another 10 seconds or so. I just haven't. There's been enough other stuff that I've been able to work on in the meantime, but. And we made it through there. All right. Okay, now this bonus is another one that's pretty important I don't mess it up. Taking it a little more safely than I should, I think. Probably could have done without that extra platform, but just in case. Excuse me. And that's it for World 6. On to the end game. And we win. Donkey safe. Never mind, he's not safe. I love the bug eye thing that they do. Excuse me. So this stage is interesting. Oops, tried to change his cycle, despawn that guy. It's interesting because it's kind of a medium level difficulty stage, but if you're on a really good run, it's really hard because you're so nervous. And 102 just takes it to another level because I have to make sure I do not get hit before this part of the stage because I need those two Kongs to do that team throw. So if I got hit at any point before that, I would have had to die and retry. Okay, good. And this bonus wants you to use Dixie, like to hover through these parts, but that's slow, so we're just gonna use Diddy. 27 is actually a little bit slow. I should be getting 28 in that. So now we get the race, or hopefully we don't get the race. So by flying over Screech there, I'm able to prevent the little countdown for the race from starting, which saves 3 seconds. Now sadly it means we don't get the cool music for the race, but anyways, it is what it is. Grab a little DK coin, 38, perfect. Oops, that was not what I meant to do. Kind of chickened out. I actually could have probably made it through there with my invincibility frames, but whatever. I'm used to doing the end of the stage without, with no extra hits, but I'm gonna take it a little extra safe just to be sure. All right, and we're through. So now we're on the first K. Rool fight. Any percent would end when you collect the Creme coin at the end of this fight, but 102 does not end at that point. We still have one more Lost World stage to do. The reason being that we haven't done that yet is this guy gives us the final Creme coin. So after I beat this guy, he'll give me the last Creme coin. I'll have 15, and I'll be able to go to the final Lost World stage, which is very noteworthy in 102. Well, obviously it's only in 102, not any. Well, I guess True Ending also, but that's a story for another time. This guy is easy. This guy is just a punk. Twig put it best in SGDQ 2014. He said he's basically a glorified cutscene, and that is a very apt description of him. Literally, there's nothing random about him. So what happens is I usually end up just like screwing around in the fight, and I get hit when I'm not trying to. You can speed the fight up a little bit depending on how optimally you're able to throw those cannonballs. Ideally what you'll do is throw them in such a way that you won't see any frames of the dust, like from his little suction animation. They're called dustless throws, but I mean, it's gonna save a couple seconds maybe over the course of the fight. So I mean, if you're talking world record pace stuff, you need to be doing pretty optimal throws, but otherwise it's a pretty straightforward fight. What? Dang it! Okay. Don't do that. It doesn't... I'm not really worried about dying, but that was stupid. I take it back, I am a little worried about dying, because just how awful that would be. Are you kidding me? Glorified cutscene, right? what did I say earlier? Run of shame. Alright. So, most important trick in the game right here. I don't know how much that earlier hit cost me. Probably 30 to 40 seconds or so, but maybe not that much, but it was not, that was not ideal. Blue Diddy here is the greatest trick in the game, and it costs you 7 seconds to do it, but I mean, look at this. This is awesome. So it's pretty important to keep Diddy for the final phase of this guy, because he can outrun the vacuum attack. Dixie, it's a little harder to dodge. It's still doable, but just a little bit harder. Okay, so we're gonna get the final hit and get the final Creme coin, and then be ready for the Lost World stuff. 15. So I've gotten all the bonuses, gotten all the coins, beat the bosses. But now what we have to do is watch a little bit of the credits. The game, I have not saved my game, as you might expect, and the game doesn't save my file until after Cranky talks to you. So we have to sit about a minute or two here just to see what Cranky has to say in delicious Japanese. So, it's kind of a breather. If you're doing a long run, like sometimes we'll do 306% races, which is 101, 102, and 103, which is Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 back to back to back, like 100%. And this is your most significant bathroom break in that. But the thing that I'm going to do now is a zip that was discovered by a guy on YouTube. I think his account was Adam1forPresident, but it's a zip that can only be done in the 1.0 version of the game. This is why I'm playing 1.0. This is why I'm doing Japanese. Well, not Japanese, it's just 1.0 mostly. And the fact that this zip exists makes Donkey Kong Country 2 a real speed game, because you need a zip to have a real speed game. The sad part about it is that Fiery Furnace, the stage we're about to do, is actually a really fun stage. So the fact that I don't get to play through it like the normal way is a little bit sad. There's a lot of cool damage boosts. It's a neat thing to do, but the zip is arguably cooler. It's a neat thing. There's a couple different ways to do it too. So if I'm gonna try to do it the first way. If I fail that, I lose 20 seconds by doing a backup zip. But even if I somehow fail the backup, which is not frequent, I'll still do it. So anyway, as soon as the screen goes to black, you can reset, because it means the game is saved. And obviously waiting till the game saves and resetting is a lot quicker than waiting for the credits to finish. So I should have 95% if I've done everything. Indeed I do. 15, 38, 95. We're going to go back down, World 5. I didn't do this world earlier in the game for a couple of reasons. It's faster to do it at the end. And now we do Fiery Furnace, and I hope to get the zip. And I'll explain it once I pull it off. Got it. So basically what I'm doing there is by taking a hit when the barrel is going to shoot, I'm able to keep the barrel. In 1.0 I can go outside the screen. By going really far to the left of the screen, the game wraps around and thinks I'm on the far right side of the screen. Now it's 1.0 exclusive because you can't take the barrel out of bounds in 1.1, so they fixed that. You can still get the infinite barrel by doing the properly timed damage, but in okay, hold on, I got a shot to make here. that shot there is pretty precise, but you can still keep the infinite barrel in 1.1, but you just can't take it out of bounds, which means you can't cause the screen to wrap. It also makes this bonus significantly easier because you can go out of bounds with the barrel. This bonus is probably actually why they patched that in 1.1. I'm sure they didn't know. Well, maybe they did figure out the zip. I don't know. Probably not, because they would have patched the glitch about getting hit as well. But I'm gonna finish this in 18. That's bad. 20 is good. So I got a little slow there. But anyways, 14 is what you would get in that bonus, doing it without being able to go out of bounds. So that's it. We're coming up on the final boss here. So time will be as soon as the DK coin, as soon as I collect the DK coin at the end. And much like the other boss, he's easy. He's a glorified cutscene. I'm probably going to screw it up and lose a minute and a half though. So those purple clouds cause your controls to get reversed. That's the #1 rule of Donkey Kong Country 2, or Donkey Kong Country in general, is that purple means controls reversed. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for giving me the chance to do this. I haven't been able to ever do a marathon before, so I'm pretty excited that I was able to do it. If you like this, definitely check out AGDQ. Like I said, Void is going to be doing an even better job than I am here. He will not get Maze of Shame, I can almost guarantee you that. Time is in a second. Time. It's like 1:36, not bad. Not bad at all. But yeah, I do this game, obviously. I also run, occasionally will run Donkey 1 and Donkey 3, mostly at 100% also. And my current goal is to get a 133 in this category, which would put me at 4th in the world, 2nd in North America, and best in the US. So I should be able to get that already. But that's what I'm going to be working on in the short term, so no more shame, hopefully. But there we are, we have successfully beaten Mario. And that's about it, so yeah, thank you, definitely appreciate it. And now I'll look at chat. Well, that's a lot of GGs, look at all that stuff. Void 136 for Ant is pretty solid. Yeah, earlier today I had a run that was like a 145. It was awful. It was really like I've been watching Star Wars the last 2 days, obviously, so I did not practice this the last couple of days. I was kind of nervous, so I'm very pleased with how that went. Anyways, guys, thank you. Magus, that's it for me. So whenever you're ready to set up whoever's next. Appreciate it, you guys, very much.